Maybe let us start. We have... Oh, Igor is coming. He is exactly on time. So there is the majority of people are in the room. So please, you're welcome with your comments, with your observations. Let's make it our session interactive. So if you have any questions, there are 2 mics, and you're welcome with your questions. So if you have any comments or any questions, let us start with the issue. The issue is building connectivity for the app-driven world. I would like to show you a slide, which is a kind of addition to Martin Levy's report. It is Russia on the internet map of the world. That way, the main interest of the internet business is mass users. So the size shows the number of internet users, and the color marks the penetration. It is a bit older map, but the situation is quite the same now. Russia is one of few countries with such a big possibilities, with such a huge amount of residents, and with such a little penetration of the internet. So it opens new opportunities for business, and actually this brings people to our conferences. Russia is really too small for the map of this internet. But we are following 2 main trends as to make a start for our discussion. The same users are becoming the auditory money of the ATM services. So there are the users play double role, and the building of networks, that is the second aspect. So the networks can be easily built. There's both the channels, the access to exchanges. The internet companies use this. They build their own networks, and there are more and more networks, and the connection between them is even more difficult. The ways of traffic and the financial flows, they're quite different. So let's discuss it. Let's define the role of infrastructure stakeholders. I suppose our experts will tell us, because they work closely with the nodes of internet resources. Let me introduce our participants. That is Igor Akimenko, Rascom, Sergey Kiselov, MSK IX, Andrei Oktkaluk, Retin, Maxim Tuluk, AMS IX. And could you introduce your companies, how you are related to the internet, what is your traffic? Probably there is the preparation for lunch. Or maybe some peering negotiations. So, do you have IPv6 traffic for the operators? What IX are you connected? How many operators and exchanges do you have? So Igor, please, could you start? Good morning. Rascom is an infrastructural actor. We provide the capacity from Moscow and from St Petersburg to Europe. The internet is not the core business for us, but we look at the internet and at the internet network of the company as a kind of a loco which drives us, which gives us an opportunity to provide the clients with capacities, because the traffic which goes through the network, it is IP traffic. Speaking about the opportunities of Rascom, our own network is reserved to DM from Moscow via St. Petersburg, Helsinki, Stockholm, Frankfurt, Amsterdam, with a loop in Europe. At the whole length of the network, there is 100 gigs technology and 100 gigs channels at all parts of the network. But the main product is 10 gigs channels. Do you are you engaged with internet exchanges? Yes, in Stockholm we participated in DECX in AMSX in Amsterdam, and with MSK IX with St. Petersburg IX. What do you know anything about IPv6 traffic? Are you interested in this or not? I'm interested in how it is going to develop. We try to develop IPv6 session, but there is no huge traffic. Some people want to have it, others say that they will not like. We cannot see any commercial attractivity, but IPv6 is possible with our network, so everything is enabled, as we say. Sergey, good morning. I have already told you about MSK Exchange. It is 600 participants, and 500 of them are unique. So we actually a part of the internet. As for IPv6, we support it. We participated all promoting actions, and we spoke about it at this meeting. As for some figures, with the development from the west to east, the percentage of networks which participated IPv6 from 50% to 25%. The traffic which we see at our IXs, this traffic from 1% from IPv4 to just very, very little figures. So some IPv6, some networks are preparing for IPv6, but it is not used commercially. As for the efforts, as far as I hear from the providers, we are just we are fatalists, and we're just looking what the future will show you. Sure. As Andrei, could you tell us about the Ukrainian internet? Well, I can both. So my name is Andrei Otkaluk, written. Our business is related to the internet. We sell it as a transit service, and the channels. There is nothing bad in this, so don't be shy. The network markets Just Russia, Ukraine, and Europe. These are main markets of our activity. We have a DVDM loop from Moscow to Europe and back via the Ukraine. The loop is closed around the world. We are in the 25 IXs, Russian and European, also in Hong Kong and the United States. As for IPv6, well, I didn't look at the details of client traffic, but I suppose that IPv6 that is 0.1 or even 0.05% that is IPv6 traffic. So it is very close to zero. So far, how can we introduce this IPv6? I don't know. We are ready for it, but there is no demand. Maxim, what about the situation in Amsterdam? My name is Maxim Tuluk, and I work at Amsterdam Exchange. The situation with IPv6 is the same. We have 2.2 terabit traffic. There is IPv4 and 15 gigabit of IPv6. So IPv6 even cannot be seen at the charts. So there is almost no traffic. If we speak about the participants, these are the biggest Russian operators and their colleagues in this room. We have also all the hosters and approximately 600 unique participants.
And well, so the first question for discussion, it's rather frequent, and it's actually addressed first to operators. And IXs, they can see this pattern from quite convenient perspective. The IP transit prices, they continue to go down. Analysts public various optimistic or pessimistic graphs. It depends on whether you sell or buy transit. So who's today is the main customer for transit amount, who builds up and expands their own networks. So who is the most active actors? So let's ask Igor. Well, as to our customer database and as to our feelings, these are mainly operators involved in either activities with private clients, with corporate clients, or with both. And less and less frequently, we see the backbone operators. Since we work at the physical level, we have our fibers and the ADVDM system, and the lessee operators, they develop their business using rented channels. So this business comes to be less and less profitable. That's how the business activity looks like. But recently, we see that from the point of view of activity and from the point of view of questions on conferences, we can see that traffic generators are the most active actors, that search systems and other ones. So is it correct to say that for a channel volume, such actors also will be more active? Well, and yes, they do build up their own networks, and clients generating traffic, social networks, they do it, but they make their networks on rented networks, on rented channels, and the need for traffic in such operators is rented traffic is sufficient for them. No rented volumes is sufficient. They do not need to rent the fibers. I would partially agree with Igor. I couldn't say that the main actors surely are some social services or search systems. Well, they're active, of course. They're much more active than a couple of years ago. But to say that they're the most active, and to say that they're the most active, the most important segment, I wouldn't say it this way. For me, the pattern of customers is the same. It's similar. Of course, making your own network is not the magic anymore, and it's not something which looks to be almost impossible. So many, they try to build their own networks, but some new customers, smaller ones, they appear in this market. But generally speaking, here I cannot say that there are clear new trends as a market. Then traditional way of interaction, public peering through internet exchange. So with lowering prices on transit, the peering port prices, they become comparable with IP transit. So public peering, is it, so to say, relevant through IX? And what will happen, what is on the horizon in 2, 3, 4 years? Well, Maxim, what do you say? Well, since the transport prices, they continuously go down, then connection to IXs, especially to European IXs, it becomes more and more profitable. At least one of the Russian operators, they have about 50 gigagits, so they have 5, 10 gig ports, actually. And it stimulates growth on peering. Of course, it goes up quite nicely. We see increasing number of local operators, both Russian and Ukrainian, when they come there. And yes, it goes like that. That the price of the export and the price for the transport to Amsterdam is cheaper than to take IP transit here. So from that point of view, internet exchange, they feel okay, quite nicely. Is it the same in Moscow? Well, what I could say, peering looks to be attractive, even when the prices are quite close. At the low-speed ports, at 1 gigabit, in Moscow and St Petersburg, we almost do not see issues related to pricing, but for internet exchange point, it's most important is, so to say, composition of participants. From the point of view of canal volume, that I could just agree. What's a decrease of channel prices, and we can see that we have 3 or 5 operators, and sometimes we see even some hosters coming. Okay, it's a question to operators. Do you have any special product for customers who want to connect to IXs, and how the partnership with channel operators should develop? What kind of objectives they should work at in general for the market? What kind of cooperation we think? One in Ruscom, we have such a special product. It is a connection to all European IXs, and we sell connections as through one, so to say, through one agreement, since we're official partner of all European IXs, so we could provide as a one set both capacity to reach X and also connection to X with full-scale membership in every organization. So we have such agreements with all IXs, and they're quite in demand, I could say. I mean, such service is quite in demand. From the point of view of MSKX, everything is simple, since there are quite a lot of operators, and with many of them, we have partnership interaction agreements. So the operator provides channel, we provide a connection, and we're moving to the joint program. And there is an issue related to Russia, and the issue is that the channel operators they try to keep the prices as high as possible, to have more of remote connections to several IXs. So to stimulate it is better to follow the market and to know what's going on at the market, and it's really advisable. I would like to. I would like to quite a comment. Sorry, I'm talking quite with quite a low voice. Channel operator holding the canals, we can connect with MSKXC and well, talking about our special services, I'm a partner of MSKX on remote connection, and that's it. We're in the process of some creation of some so to say tricks to reach IX, but there's some historical issues. We are just transit operators, and we want to stay like that on a permanent basis. We want to hold this position, so we provide our clients with the possibility to connect to any point of any 25 access, and then clients we provide them so this access to them, and then customers should agree with access themselves. So if IX thinks that there are high prices for channel operators think that the IX have too high prices, so maybe this place should just exchange their places. And I know that AMSIX they have some smaller satellite exchanges. So what's the policy regarding transit between or among those points? Well, we do have two satellite exchange. One is on Curacao in Caribbean, and second in Hong Kong. But the idea why we went there, the matter is that the operators everywhere, they need independent neutral player. That's the main component of IX to stay neutral. And operators, they cannot stay neutral. And when there is a traffic exchange. So IX is a unique site where we can exchange traffic, and IX doesn't affect policy. For us, traffic is just as a net packet, and what is inside as a net packet is it's actually the customer's business. Well, continuing with that, what we can see at the moment is quite objective statistics showing that the traffic exchange through IXs it's accumulated among several large players. Larger they become larger, faster and faster. The smaller they become even smaller. So the question is, do we need actually small local IXs? And if yes, then who should develop them? And what quality criteria, criteria they actually should satisfy to stay useful? Let's ask Igor about that. Well, from our point of view, for us, usefulness of small IXs is so. Is it kind of a concentration point? No. Channels, clients don't take channels for small IXs because cost of a channel, it takes a considerable part of a budget. So the channel price actually determines everything. And so the small volume means small channel. The cost of a gigabit with a small capacity, with a, let's say, gigabit channel, it is rather high. If we recalculate it as a 1 megabit per sec, so it's much easier to buy such volumes here at the local market. Okay, and then MSKIX, they developed 9 exchanges at the same time. Sergey, why MSKX is doing like that? What are the perspectives in doing that? Well, the issue is MSKX historically was created by networks. It was a initiative in far away 1995. They wanted to have someone who should stay in between and would make possible, despite the situation in a particular participant, to have the traffic exchange point. In reality, we hear some talks, some requests from regions in Russia asking for internet exchange point. But to create internet exchange, we need someone, we need some peering coordinator, some negotiator who will do the job. From the point of view of local players, it always includes two aspects. First of all, it's possibility to localize traffic, and it's a more competitive market of IP transit because they all stay together. All the players stay together, and they one by one, all together. They communicate, they can negotiate for better conditions. It's a new possibility for market to stabilize and to, so to say, equalize prices. But in that context, what is the so to say relationship with large content providers? Paradigm actually is changing those days, and the new form of peering is placement of caches, is acceptance of content operator caches on your sites, and then transportation of traffic through IX could be also effective. It is one of rather dynamic development points because the operators essentially they build their network in the region where they could reach with their own hands, and content provider they follow the audience, and their task is to provide high quality traffic to the component and maximum growing rates at this territory. From that point of view, the traffic exchange point in ideal partners are neutral, they're not related to any local market player. It's not indicated with any resource redistribution, and the task of the resource is to provide any technical services on operational, so to say, basis, and it's a cooperation which actually is being actively developed. On the other hand, it enables us to increase number of participants and to make more effective every of such traffic exchange points. Okay, great. And talking about the decentralization, it's a new trend. If you so to say admit it, then such products like carriers, Ethernet, and wide area internet exchange providers who gives the clients the possibility for peering. How they change market, how they affect market. Andrew, what do you think? So you are the closest to that business. Well, I'm just thinking about the decentralization as a trend. Well, in Ukraine, and Ukraine coming making one step back with regard to regional access. Well, they might be even interesting. They might be even interesting if they're local. They could be quite strong, interesting players. But in the situation when national transport is very cheap, and the realities in Ukraine is that local operators like Odessa, Kharkov operators, where IXs exist, they, according to leading ADTEL, in Ukraine is 1.5% of the total traffic volume. I mean, they are almost non-existing. That's why to mention decentralization in that sense is, at least as a market where I work, is impossible. There is no decentralization, so to say, the market I work. About the carriers on net and market changes, well, I think I would repeat myself. I cannot actually say about mentioning a separate trend and whether operators should take IX functions or vice versa. No, I don't think so. You should do your own business. You should be either IX or channel operator and transport operator. So you're either one thing or another thing, not more, not less. That's my position. Okay, now we have time for questions from the audience. So if you have some burning question, so please come to the mic. So once you are thinking, I will ask my last question. Okay, Russia, Ukraine, Europe. Here we have players uniting those spaces. Let's answer this question. The audience, when the audience is still thinking. So, are there any digital borders among countries? At MSKX, the club of Ukrainian participants is about 10 members. We have connections from Kazakhstan, from Baltics. AMSEC's geography is much wider. So, what has changed recently, and what will change in the future? Well, I think about 20 minutes, there was a good answer from our colleague from Hurricane Electric. On one of his slides, he showed dependence of Ukraine and Russia and the interconnections of those lines within CIS and European nodes. Of course, there are 2 or 3 SAS countries, they stay separate, but other interactions and connections are so intermixed. Then at the moment, there is no issue to talk about any borders, I suppose. Maxim, would you comment on that? Well, yes, I want to say that there is no border. The borders, they actually explain in money-wise. It's the price of a canal from Moscow to the west, to Kiev, or to Kiev, or from Kiev to the west. So the cheaper transport, the better. Well, that's good. That couldn't be cheaper. It's really cheap too much, so to say. So the borders, actually, I should say, they clearly financial, so to say, borders. So we should wait for a cheaper transportation, much cheaper transportation. Talking about airplane tickets and up to internet, so we can unite our communication spaces or environment. Questions, please. I'm Alexander Shikov, Detailex Kiev. I would like to comment this last slide a little bit. Well, digital borders, they do disappear quite rapidly. It started about 2 years ago with the first Russian operator coming there to Kiev, to AIX, to our AIX. And it's interesting to see how Ukrainian operators join MSKX or Detailex. And what's going to be faster? Whom we have more of Ukrainians in MSKX or Russians in Detailex? But what determines it? What is the, so to say, gravitation factor there? You know, it's, so to say, double-sided coin. Transportation from Kiev to Moscow, Moscow to Kiev is the same. In MSKX, they have more of participants, but it's more expensive. We have much less traffic, but it's much cheaper. So I don't know what will happen. I would like to watch it. And the other thing, at the previous slide, so here, you say how kerosene providers change the market. Well, I didn't understand actually what it means. They provide possibility for peering through their network. It means some cloud access, which appears those days. What it means these days? I cannot say if it is cloud. We're talking about networks which provide possibility or position themselves like access. What I mean, there are access, traditional access. They have their own network, providing traditional exchange servicing through routers. And there are also virtual IXs, which are part of physical IXs, and then this connectivity they obtain distributed among their clients. Due to that, they could take a little piece, they have their little cut from channel operators and have their money. So is it possible for them to cooperate with physical IXs? Yes, they can do. We have an example of such cooperation, and it's still productive and interesting for both parties. Thank you. I would like to add upon that detail is a good example of answer on development of regional IXs. In Kiev today is a unique situation. They have 4 traffic exchange points in Kiev, and they have clear traffic growth. So if they appear, it means someone needs it. It's good. Well, the matter is that President Richard Maxim Tourette and not CIS, cloud access is a great marketing or brilliant, so to say, discovery of marketologists, meaning that it is a way to sell twice a single channel, or one channel to system. So why? Because actually standard channel, how they sell it? There is a channel buyer, let's say like Ukrainian provider like us, and we buy a channel to get connected to level 3 in Europe. Level 3 from Europe, they do not pay the same cost for such channel. We only pay for that. What happens in the case of cloud access? It is sold from both sides. They sell this channel once in Russia and second to Ukraine, because all the participants should pay for connection. That's why cooperation of standard and cloud access is possible. So cloud access would have more of a traffic, but for the very beginning. But those cloud access, they will be interested to stop such cooperation to make other party pay for that. Okay, next question, please. Yuri Kargopolov, ONIC, Ukraine. Situation is as follows. I have a question. At the ENOG 2, Sergei Polishuk made a quite nice presentation on traffic and peering between MSKX and OIX. And as far as I remember, Sergei said that this is highest traffic in Europe between two IXs. Now it's 18 months later. I would like to hear from MSKX, has the traffic structure changed? The traffic obtained from Ukraine from traffic exchange points. Is it clear? No, not clear. Because in Ukraine, we had some structural changes regarding the traffic exchange points. Do you see it in Moscow? Have you noticed it in Moscow? And do you understand that you have traffic coming from other exchange points from Ukraine in Kiev? So do you understand? Do you understand where this traffic is coming from, which is a portion between OX and other traffic exchange points in Ukraine? Do you follow it? If yes, okay, then tell me your opinion. If no, well, then we should just remember about it, because processes in Ukraine are quite interesting. Well, the question is a little bit of a magic one, because the traffic exchange point is none of the network diagrams. We cannot see it. It is actually direct exchange. I don't understand it, but that's one thing. Just you should take it into account. The second thing, we are not talking about. This presentation it wasn't said. There is some connection between Ukrainian and Moscow exchange points, besides very rapid growth of traffic exchange. And Sergei said that if it goes as fast as it was, and both Moscow and Ukrainian points, they're gonna be first and second points in Europe regarding traffic volume. But the industry, or in peering, the main question is time, experience, and audience. And they gather it slowly. So there is no revolution. From the traffic point of view, we can't say that we do analyze it, except for the quality of exchange among participants. What goes inside it is a question to the networks. Okay, may I ask you a question? Well, I think the traffic, it goes in two directions. There is a political and financial traffic. If operators feel better and profitable to exchange in Kiev, they'll do it in Kiev. If in Moscow, in Moscow. If it's in Amsterdam, they will do it in Amsterdam. And I don't see any connection. I do agree. Maxim, are there only two ways for this traffic? Only political and financial? What about technical? You don't take it into account. Is it so bad? Well, Konstantin asked me to be the salesperson today. That's why I switched to be a salesperson, not the technical guy. And Maxim did it nicely. So now we have a great topic for discussion for lunch.